This video introduces drivers to the dual zone central tyre inflation system. It shows you how to use the controls and highlights important facts about using the system. If you have any question not answered here, check with your nearest Air CTI agent to get the information that you need. Each wheel has its own tap that can be used to isolate the airflow. Before moving the vehicle in the morning, ensure that the wheel taps are turned on. There will be a small hiss while the tyres balance. Listen for air leaks. If a steady hiss lasts for more than a few minutes, it may indicate a puncture or a slow leak. If you do identify a leak, fix it straight away. 2 other taps are fitted to each system. One is the air supply point located on the top of the air tank. The other is on the inflate solenoid assembly, usually behind the cabin. Both taps have red handles. These are normally left on and are only used in emergencies. When first activated, the system will automatically revert to pressure preference 1, which is the highest pressure preference setting. It prepares the vehicle for a new journey. Dual zone systems for steer and drive tyres show 2 lines of information. The top line shows the front tyre pressures and the bottom line shows the rear drive wheel pressures. Most installations use a button to the left of the display labelled front rear. Pressing this changes the focus of the pressure adjustments from the front wheels shown on the top line to the drive wheels shown on the bottom line, allowing each zone to be adjusted separately. In some vehicles, these 2 zones represent drive tyres and trailer tyres. Operation is the same, but the display will be labelled rear and trailer zones instead. Where both yellow lamps are on, it means that the 2 zones are bonded together, and changing a preference will affect both the front and the rear tyres at the same time. On single zone systems where only the drive wheels are managed, just a single line appears on the display. The display tells us a lot about the CTI system. The figures on the right show the target pressures where we want the tyres to be. The figures on the left show the live pressure readings from each tyre. When the 2 match, we have an OK symbol on the right hand side of the screen, telling us that we have a good match and it's tracking OK. When there's a moving arrow on the screen between the 2 figures, it shows that there's a pressure tracking in progress. If we increase the target pressure on the rear zone, we'll see it trying to inflate. Now the live pressure reading will rise until it matches the target pressure. When the 2 match, it goes back to showing OK. The screen message will show INF for inflate and DEF for deflate, depending on what's happening at the time. The system applies pressure changes at regular intervals, pauses to check the readings, then continues. Between pauses, the pressure may briefly read higher during inflation and lower during deflation. On the road, the tyres will naturally warm up and increase pressure. When stopped, the tyres will cool down and fall in pressure. The system will automatically adjust the tyres for these changes. Pressing the OK button will place the system in a standby mode, where inflation and deflation events are suspended. This is useful for service situations, wheel changes, etc. Normal tracking is resumed when the OK button is pressed a second time. If there is a leak or a small puncture, the system will keep topping up the tyres to compensate. If this happens too often, the system will show a slow leak alarm message, but continue to manage the tyres. Pressing the OK button will cancel the alarm, but the message may reoccur at regular intervals if the problem remains. A separate alarm feature looks for major leaks or rapid deflation in either tyre zone, called a blowout alarm. The system will attempt to maintain pressure, but drivers should stop and investigate the cause of the alarm as soon as possible. On the front steer tyres, the high or P1 preference is always used for highway and sealed road operation. On gravel roads, use the medium or P2 pressure. When in sand or soft mud, use the low P3 pressure. Operators must remember to restore higher pressures when the road conditions improve. On the drive tyres or rear tyres, the high P1 preference is typically used on highways when transporting full loads. The medium or P2 is used on highways when travelling empty. P2 is also used on gravel roads when fully laden. The low P3 preference is used for emergency traction and for running empty on gravel roads. In each of the 3 preference areas, the up and down buttons will allow for fine-tuning of the pressures for specific loads. On some systems, the fine-tuning feature may be limited or locked out. Driver knowledge and experience is important here. On some trucks, the low P3 setting may be appropriate. During heavy rain, a high pressure will push the water away from the tyres, providing safer operation. P4 is not used in most installations. On some vehicles, an optional speed sensor is fitted to the system that will automatically restore the high pressure preference once the vehicle's speed is increased for more than a few minutes. Both the target pressures are set for each vehicle when the system is fitted, but this can be changed when required. The display has high intensity, which is good for daylight visibility, but it can be dimmed for nighttime operation. To dim the display for night use, press the OK and down button at the same time. To restore full brightness, press the OK and the up button at the same time. When parking the truck at the end of the day, turn off all of the wheel taps and check for any signs of leaks. Visual maintenance can save a lot of problems at an early stage. Periodically inspect the rotators for signs of looseness and the drop pipes for any indication that they've been rubbing against another surface. It always remains the responsibility of the driver to maintain safe operation of their vehicle. Air CTI is the only tool that allows the drivers to optimise their vehicle tyre pressures while on the open road. Remember, when in doubt about using the system, ring the Air CTI office for more advice.